Oh well. There you go. I'm live now. Take your pick. Who wants to do the introductions?
Good afternoon. How are we on a lovely Sunday afternoon in Victoria, Australia? 21 degrees, good working weather. Expecting 29 tomorrow, apparently. We've got a long weekend here. G'day Sid, g'day Sarge, g'day Bob, and anybody out on the side.
G'day all. G'day Dr. Bob. G'day Robbo. G'day Sarge again.
Well,
Howdy,
Sid, I
Sid.
see you're
Howdy,
working
Wilbur.
too.
Well,
Yeah, working hard or hardly working, one or the other.
he's there, Bob. Put it that way. I wouldn't say he's working.
I just sold something.
Oh, very good.
Awesome.
One of your art pieces?
You're frozen, Jay.
Everything looks alright to me. Is it frozen to everyone?
Yep.
Oh, bad luck.
It's like, yeah, bandwidth problem. It takes
Yep, I
audio.
already said that. Already said that. Yep, I know what it is. Well, it's the provider. It's not me. So.
Yeah.
So you just have to get over it, I suppose. Because there's nothing I can do about it.
Oh, we don't have to get over. I'm offended by that.
There's plenty of other stuff you can do, isn't there?
Oh, yeah, always.
You're offended, are you? Oh, you're a bloody snowflake, huh?
Yeah, yeah,
Put on your big boy panties and let's go.
yeah. Did you like
What do you expect? Equal internet for everybody?
Be a shame, wouldn't it?
I mean, you have your provision of oxygen. If you use it up, then we turn it off and feed you carbon monoxide. Isn't that how it works?
Yeah, it's supposed to. There's a lot that don't even deserve the carbon monoxide, in my opinion.
That's a bit funny, Dr. Bob. It reminded me of a friend of mine who used to do a lot of scuba diving. And I've never scuba dived, but the guys who used to dive with him reckon they could see the tank moving in and out as he breathed, and he only ever had half the time underwater, but the rest of them did.
Yeah, that's one of those hobbies I've had over the years. Haven't done it probably 20.
I was gonna do it, but my ex-wife decided to be sick instead, so I never got the chance to do the classes. So I guess it wasn't in my cards.
Oh,
But I
as
did
far
a
as I'm
hazmat course where I was fully dressed like a spaceman with the respirator and everything. And the day that I did it, I shouldn't even had the tank on because I had a head cold. But I did the whole exercise. I got done. I was the only one still that didn't ring out with lack of oxygen in my tank. Come to find out, I only popped my valve open a quarter turn instead of all the way. So I was just barely getting enough air through there. But I was breathing fine.
Well, barely getting enough is enough.
Right.
It's like someone says you just missed, well, still a miss.
Right.
yeah, that's what I said when I got hit. That's what I said when I got hit. Geez, you were lucky. It could have been worse. I said, well, it's not bloody lucky. I still got hit.
Looked like we're watching a slideshow presentation. Frame by frame.
Yeah, I can't criticise him today because I can't see how the chisel's working at all. I can't hear it.
I know it.
He's finished the cut before he starts.
All you see is a big old bunch of hair shavings in his shirt, and that's it.
Yeah.
So what's
Yes.
you like to turn, Robbo?
Sorry.
What's you like to turn?
Fantastic.
I just got offered a couple of free yew branches off a tree that was cut down in Kingston here.
You need sharp tools because it's fairly open grained
Yep.
and a light touch in some cases when you're finishing it.
I don't know what it'll be like because she said it's been down for a couple of years.
Oh yeah. How big are they?
She said, from what she said, about 10 inches.
Oh yeah. Oh well, we could get a couple of bowls out of them.
Yeah, should do.
You're it, Sarge.
I reckon.
You lucky devil. No, it's refreshing. It says it. So that
Yeah.
makes a difference.
So I reckon I
figured.
got, she said there's 2 or 3 pieces there. I can't remember what she said now, about 3 or 4 foot long and about 10 inches in diameter.
Oh well, that's good.
But even if it started to crack, I should be able to cut back past the cracks and then seal the ends and have some nice length.
Yep.
Don't make any difference to the quality of the picture.
No.
Oh, not really.
You know, I happened to be watching one of the news shows today while waiting for something else that I was expecting and wanting to see. And they were talking about, they called it on the side, that internet providers, the people who do tech support for internet provider, is showing this is stupid. But in all the industries today, it's the highest level of people quitting, and worse yet, suicide. It used to be nurses were high up in there, but now it's internet tech support.
Hello, Paul.
Just since the COVID, the
How
stress
you going,
is
Paul?
on them.
How you going, Neil?
Good day, Paul. Good day, Neil.
There's the ugly heads. There you go.
Paul, Neil, how you going?
Paul,
Yeah,
you want
Jay's
me?
having a little bit of internet problems today, so
You get to see everyone else's mug for a change.
That's all right. I was watching Station Nick earlier today on Nick's turn, and Stace pulled a K, pushed the wrong button right in the middle of his live stream. Well, Neil, you ain't missing much. Saying he can't see any of the discussion while watching it on his phone.
well, we were having
All the entertainment's in the earworms at the moment,
Yeah, right.
and that's sad.
Did you get that bowl finished, Neil, or not? The one you were putting feet on.
I had shared Jay's live last night. My grandma was like, "What is that?" I was like, "It's a chunk of wood that a wood turner down in Australia is fixing to turn." Paul's
They say
out back.
Yeah.
Yeah. How you going, Paul?
G'day, Paul.
Yeah,
How you doing?
Howdy, Paul.
So what's on this afternoon? What you making?
I'm having a very bad internet day, so
Oh, right.
I'm leaving myself in small screen, and you guys can just chat away.
Sounds fair.
And Paul's in a dark room. Just smile for me, Paul, so as I can see you.
I think my video's frozen. It
You
appears to be
too, huh?
stuck. I'll go out and come back. It looks like it's frozen.
It's night time over there, Robbo. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's right. Early
it's
morning,
nighttime.
So I'll return in a minute.
No worries.
That's one of the nice things about the big updates that like StreamYard and Zoom has is the fact that they're cloud based. So everybody gets the best speed they can from the cloud down and up to their system. That's one way that those that don't have or have problems with internet problems, they can be a little fuzzy or whatever, but they really don't control what all the other ones have.
Yeah, Neil reckons there's two black bears bonking in the dark.
Is Jay by feeding?
Sorry?
Jay's by feeding Facebook and YouTube.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
That's using a lot of his bandwidth up. Supposedly, I'm not sure. I knew that was
Yes,
the part
actually.
that they were trying to get rid of.
Thank you, Bob, for reminding me about that. Neil, can you jump over to YouTube and watch it? Because I'm going to can Facebook because that only does HD. You can't actually go down in the.
Yeah, he said he'll try YouTube.
All right. If you need a link, just give us a yellow and we'll send it to you. All right. Actually, I'll just chuck it in.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Facebook at the moment. It's slow as hell here.
They are Neil.
G'day, John.
How you going, John? All right. I've got rid of Facebook, so we'll give it like a couple of minutes to buffer around and do its thing.
Yeah.
Howdy, John.
That was a much easier way to take that funny shape bit off.
Yeah, well, that's why I say always form the whole shape when you're doing it from one end. I love these people that round something down, just get the outside part off, just put a tenon on it and then turn it around and whack it in a chuck. Jeez, why? Do the whole flaming thing when it's all between centres. Much quicker and
Okay.
easier.
Between centers doesn't have the most support usually.
Yes. Well, depending on what you're doing.
Right, right. Let's just say on this piece of wood in this project style, the bowl,
Yeah, the bowls are a little bit different, but um, geez, John, what are they doing? Dumping them all on you? He said. So I don't know if I told you all since last we talked, but we have a total of 25 rescue horses now. She said, I hope somebody's paying for the feed for you.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, I think he told me not too long ago that one of his Clydesdales stepped on his foot and crushed it
Yeah,
or broke
that's
it.
right. Yeah.
I asked him if he was on his foot yet, and he said, no, he got 25 more horses. I was like, good grief.
So Sid, how's it going in the store?
I've sold a egg and bacon slice and two baby romper suits.
None of your stuff?
No, I just shut the doors and go home. Crack the stads. Although I did get some ewes,
Yeah. So
so
it
I've had a
paid you to
win.
be there.
The lady come. We've got a community bookcase up the back where people can just bring books in and swap them over. And she's talking and said, "Oh, is this your stuff?" She said, "Oh, would you like some you?" And I said, "Would I?"
I know a joke like that, but I can't say it on air. Yeah, I'd reckon that'd be costing a fortune to feed. Your picture's
Well,
still not
do you have a
picture's
good
still not
uh,
good, Jay.
do you have a good Friday, Sarge? And now Saturday?
What was that?
I said your picture's still not good.
Not much I can do about it.
No, I know.
And that's hardwired into your router.
Yep,
Yeah.
we were talking about that before. No, his internet providers put up a thing on it. The internet's crap at the moment. Ah, bummer, John. So he didn't get the house in Amherst because apparently someone outbid him.
Maybe, Sid, you might want a little card that you put up around where you have your wood turnings. Something that I've done it a couple times. Uh, we recycle old wood into new products, always accepting free wood call. And we ended up, there's three of us, we ended up with far more than we could ever use in a couple of years for the one of the
Well,
few
I'm
bowls and
already in that
platters.
situation, Dr. Bob. I've got
So,
more wood sitting at home that I'm going to use. It's just when there's something different comes up, I'll grab it.
Yeah, I was going through some of the stuff I had today. I wanted to get out. I got some big, deep bowl blanks that I've forgotten I even had tucked back in the shelf and been there
Paul's
since
in the background, Jay.
2004. That's the
Yeah,
problem is that the big stuff can
Oh,
get
there he
shoved in the
is.
back.
yep, moving now.
It's
Yeah.
daylight.
Yeah,
Oh,
they're just frozen up. I had to kill everything and restart it to bring it all back to life. But yeah, sorted now, I think.
and welcome back, Neil.
Hey, Neil.
I got
John, I don't know whether I said good day to you before there or not.
You do any turning today, Paul?
yeah, I did a demo this morning. This morning, my time anyway. I did a demo on making a bowl with a pewter rim. So it's a bit of pewter casting and a bit of bowl turning.
Oh,
Yeah, I sort of went through a few different techniques with pewter.
is that not stored online or was that a private demo?
It is, yeah. I was just uploading at the moment. Actually, I edited the footage earlier, and it's in the process of uploading to YouTube. I'll send you the link to that one.
Okay.
I'll just put
We
it on
got
for
thrown.
the club to watch, so it's on as an unlisted one, that one. But I'll send you a link. You can have a
Oh,
look at it.
thank you. That's something I have wanted to do is pewter.
Hmm.
I've had friends of mine who come to borrow lathes or work in the
Yeah.
shop, and that they've done it. When I worked at tech shops, they had a forge in the back as one of the things you could use. So people
Yeah.
were always having the ladles full of that or whatever and
Hmm.
coming and putting it in stuff. So
Yeah.
the biggest thing I saw done was a tabletop.
Right. That must have taken some casting.
Yes, well, they used a router
Okay.
to come about 3 inches in from the edge of the table, and they went all the way around, and then they had a family coat of arms
Yeah.
uh, that they had blown up and traced out on the wood and made a pattern, and then
Yeah.
used the router to put
Hmm.
that in the middle of the table, and
Very nice.
that was filled with pewter,
Yeah.
and then they went through the whole process of sanding it and polishing it,
Mm.
and then they put a hard, I don't know, they said it was a resin coating on it, but not like the resin we have today, I'm sure, because
Yeah.
this was 15 years ago,
Hmm.
10 to 15 years ago. It was gorgeous.
Yeah. Sounds nice. Very good.
But just watching them pour it in and smelling the wood burning, that was
Mm.
something. Everyone was saying, no, it's not going to work. You can smell it burning. And I said, it's
Yeah.
only burning on the bottom.
Yeah. With well, what I call ordinary pewter, the standard casting pewter that people use, it will scorch most wood, not all, but yeah, because that one melts at about 450 Fahrenheit. But I've also got another alloy mix, which is a bismuth alloy, and that one melts much lower. It's about 250 Fahrenheit. It's 139 centigrade. I'm not quite sure exactly where that comes out, but it's somewhere between 200 and 250 Fahrenheit, and that's low enough that it doesn't scorch the wood.
We
Oh,
used
So,
to fill the back of three-cornered cabinets with lead shot and melt the
yeah.
lead shot into a pocket in the thing.
Mm.
That was pretty interesting. You hope you got the thicknesses right before the wood gave out.
Yeah. Mm. But yeah, the low temperature alloy, I've mixed up a load of that not long ago, and I've cast it into sticks like solder sticks, so I can melt it into voids in the wood with a soldering iron.
Oh yeah.
Oh, uh-huh.
So I'm just experimenting with that at the moment.
Oh, you got to have heat, man. Big heat. More heat. More heat.
Yeah, that's it. Well, I got a big old soldering iron. It's that old. It's actually got a wooden handle on it. It's an electric one, but it's obviously got some age to it. And yeah, it's a big high wattage one.
Yeah.
Probably one for doing like leaded windows or something like that. It's a it's a big one. It gives out plenty of heat. That one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I had a fairly big one, electric one, but I've still got my one that you heat on the blowtorch as well that I used to repair radiators with.
Mm,
16-ounce head on the thing.
yeah.
Now I had one of my best friends. I knew him for probably 30 years, and we go back days of the first synthesizer. He built one after what Moog had done, and he knew Moog or Moog, depending on how you want to pronounce it,
Mm,
triple O's in his name. Uh, and he was always into that, and because we had a common interest in electronics too. So, but his family were glazers, and they
yeah.
had done most of the big high-rise buildings in Detroit since for over 120 years. Their business was really old, and it really amazed me. We went to his factory and was showing me some of the stuff he does. And he did the repair work for stained glass windows in churches and some of the old homes that they were restoring. And it
Mm,
was real lead. I mean, that's at that time that's what they would melt and put all the glass together. And he had some pretty big soldering irons for that, but they had he didn't like the ones that plugged in. He liked them that just heated in the fire and would sit it in a holder, and they were multi-sided. And he could take that big iron and hit the smallest little pieces of solder
yeah.
or lead as he was putting replacing stuff in windows. Uh, it amazed me all the intricacy of making and repairing stained glass windows.
Yeah.
Some of them are
Yeah.
pretty good with them, that's for sure. And
Yeah, I used to work in electronics, so I did a fair bit of soldering in my time.
I used my favorite was a good old Weller soldering gun, black
Yeah.
soldering gun.
Mm,
It had the trigger on it and a little light, so supposedly you could see what you were doing, but they
yeah.
never aimed right.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's when I first started in electronics with that type of gun as a birthday or Christmas present, and I was in seventh heaven as a kid. I was still in what we would call middle school, the eighth grade, seven, eight, somewhere in there, six, seven, eight, because I was building radios with my uncle and repairing them.
Yeah.
It was always a toss up. I spent a weekend with my grandfather in his wood shop with all the belts and the noise that they made, because his shop was all belt driven when I
yeah,
was little.
Neil, that dog there was supposed to be a Chihuahua when they bought it. It grew up. Neil was saying that he loves your dog, Sarge.
Yeah, that was the small one. Then the middle one, he got jealous, so he fell off the other couch, come running over here, jump up on the backside, about knocked us both over. I don't know where my monster's at. I guess he's still outside.
Uh, my my sister and brother-in-law bought or my brother-in-law and sister-in-law bought this pup that was only supposed to be a thing. It grew up to be half a horse.
Yeah,
It was huge.
yeah.
It's like the dog
Our
here,
horse is
Riley.
only, our German Shepherd Husky, he's only, what, 10 months? Something like that. He's not even a year old yet. He's already huge.
It's like the pit bull we got. It was supposed to be a miniature, but when he stands on his hind feet, he can put his front paws on my shoulders.
Yeah.
That
Neil's
isn't a miniature. That's maybe a miniature horse.
Neil's got it's a Chihuahua something cross. Billy, its name is. Silly as a wheel. Kind of matches his owner in a lot of ways.
Well, they do say dogs are like their owners, Robbo.
Yeah, well, this is right.
Don't know what that says about Sarge, but hey,
Oh, Sarge is getting upset. That's the finger movement. You got to watch that on Marines. That's the trigger finger.
Oh, it's a Foxy cross, alright. Okay, see you later, Neil.
what's the longest accurate shot you've taken, Sarge? Just trying to work out whether I'm safe or not.
500 yards.
I should be good. I should be good.
Yeah. I'm no sniper. I'm a wrench turner.
G'day, Chris.
Hello, Chris.
Spanner twirler.
Hey, Chris.
Did you like the thing I put up on the group chat about how to speak Australian? Did you, Sid?
I've seen it before. I'm going to have to refresh my memory. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet.
Oh, Conan learning Australian.
Yeah, I remember laughing.
He's about a goober, but the Sheila made the whole thing funny.
Oh yeah.
I've noticed when I watch some of the Australian TV on YouTube, quite a proliferation of it, is that the accent seems to change by where they're from. Is there that many variances in accents? Or is it just you're all accustomed to them?
No. Actors are taught to speak a little bit differently so that you Yanks can understand us. The first Australian films that were sent to America actually had to be subtitled because the Americans could not understand us.
Yes, there's a couple on YouTube that way. And when I saw them, because I sort by Australian, just the word, and I come across them as 3 movies. And it was interesting because they subtitled them, but they still had the English, and it was what? And it's like back up and play it again. It's like learning a foreign language.
Hey, Robbo.
Yeah.
Oh, was that movie called where they built that car that split in half so they could rob a bank? Was it Ricky and Pete or something like that?
Malcolm.
Sorry. Malcolm, yeah.
Was it?
Yep.
Yeah.
And he finishes up going away on a little scream.
That's a pretty good one, Bob.
Sorry.
You need to check that one out.
No, it's even worse when you see an Australian film that they've dubbed into another language. I've worked
I
out
like
what it.
watching Outback Truckers on Netflix.
Oh man, yeah. If I had that many, look, if I was driving semi, back when I was driving semis, if I'd had that much trouble, I would have given the game away. I tell you.
Well, it should.
Which one? Turbo?
Oh,
Apple has
Turbo's
always
an
got,
idiot.
yeah, he's blowing crap up all the time.
He's been he's been in jail more times than he's been out. You know.
Right. I believe that.
Mainly because he buys new trucks and then doesn't bother paying for them.
Hmm. Shoot, he's usually broke down half the time.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. No.
I think the scrapper does better job of keeping his truck going.
Yeah, he's a genuine bloke. That bloke. He's
He's
really.
he's probably the only one that is genuine in it, I reckon.
Yeah. Yeah. No. He's very good. I've forgotten his name offhand, but
Yeah,
Russell.
it's been a little while.
yeah, Russell. That's it.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, I used to drive all through there, Sarge, like where they go in a lot of cases, not with trucks, but with four-wheel drives and stuff for my job. I used to maintain all the equipment on outback stations and things.
But it's pretty
Like,
cool that Russell can pretty much take his whole factory on one tractor.
yeah, yeah. No,
Yeah,
inventive.
I get a
Go-
kick out of watching the Australian movies. At least 2 a week or so, I'll pull up to watch, and it's really interesting. But if I watch the ones from Paul's area, I mean, they seem so formal. Like, I'm sorry I have to do this, sir, but I have to hold you up. Huh? Now, whether that's real or not, or just being overly polite, I think it's more of a spoof to tease us Yanks.
No,
And the
I like.
Canadian movies, they have their own uniqueness too.
I like watching the English police shows compared to Australian shows and compared to American shows. Like the English police operate very much like our Australian police. Like they'll pull a vehicle over, and you know, generally it's not amicable, but nobody gets upset about it. In America, they pull out, put your hands on the wheel and don't move, and they've got their guns drawn and everything else. Jesus, you daren't breathe.
Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe I'm lucky. I've only been pulled over twice, and both times it was because of a brake light or a turn signal failure that I didn't know about.
Yeah,
But it's the type of thing. How do you test your brake lights if you're the only one there, and you really can't? You got to
yes, you
have
can.
someone else tell you whether they're working or not, because you're in the car when you put the brakes on.
No, back up to a shop window. That's how I check if mine are working.
It's an idea. I had not thought of that. But then again, it takes, you know, an Aussie to come up with the solution so quickly. We're too complicated here.
Oh, we're lazy. We try to find the easiest way of doing things.
No, I just couldn't open my mouth fast enough. That's how I would do it when I had one of the ready mix plants I worked at. We had our trucks in the shop, in the building. And most of the time, all I have to do is hit my brakes, and I can check my lights in the back. And I put it in reverse, and I could see the white light pop up in the back besides the noisy beeper.
Yeah. And Chris is saying he's never been pulled over with guns drawn. No, I dare say that's right, Chris. Like, they'd only dramatise everything. It's pretty much the same out there. Like, 99% of the police are nice fellas. Like, they got a job to do, so let them get on with it. But the police in England never had guns until a few years ago, did they, Paul, as a standard issue? And I think it's still not mandatory that they carry one now.
Yeah, not here, no.
No.
But there are a few, but no, not generally.
Yeah. I was watching a a show on the BBC had it out about 5 or 6 years ago how crime in England has changed. Like if a burglar got caught, he used to just say, "Oh well, fair cop, you know, you've got me, boys," and just wander off down to the clink with them. And now they tend to pull a weapon of some sort in a lot of cases.
Yeah. Much less sporting.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I'll tell you, when I was in Okinawa, we had our own guards at the gate, but we also had the Okinawan police or guards at the gate go along with us, and they didn't carry weapons, or they didn't carry guns. They carried batons, basically, or sticks.
Yeah.
But they told us, they're like, don't be fooled. You mess with them, and you're going to get a worse awakening than having a gun drawn on you.
Yep.
Pretty much, we were the ones that had guns over there. Mostly Okinawans. Even the cops in town, they didn't have guns. But us Yankees, we got to have guns and tasers and pepper spray and the whole thing.
I feel sorry for the police now. They've got that much toolkit to carry around that they weigh an extra 50 pounds.
Oh, and then their body armor.
Yeah.
They wear almost as much just going down the street as we do in combat.
Yep.
Yeah, but that isn't universal. That's one nice thing. I know I haven't seen anything like that around the Michigan or Ohio area. The only time I ever saw that serious is when they had a bomb threat at the Seattle World's Fair years and years ago when they had it, when they built the Space Needle there. I went to that fair. Because at the time I was next door in Idaho, so we just took a long weekend. But they had somebody supposedly had a bomb or a bomb threat. But that's the worst I've ever seen.
Well, I will say one thing. I did get a gun drawn on me, an MP, when I was in California. And it was because I was in regular clothes and I was going in the gate with my ID card into the back of my office on Saturday. And all of a sudden, around the back of this building, here comes the patrol car. And as soon as he got out, he pulled his gun on me. I was like, whoa. Like, okay, what next? But he saw my ID and I told him what I was doing. We had some flights coming in. Like, okay.
No, that's it. If you, yes sir, no sir, 3 bags full sir, you don't get into trouble with them.
Right.
Hello, Sid's doing the laundry while he's there. He's got his clothes hanging up in the background there. How you going with that, Jay?
Yeah, right.
Oh, good.
Can you see anything?
Oh, we can see a bit. Yeah, it's fuzzy as hell, like looking through a waterfall.
To me, it's like looking at it without my glasses.
And now it just froze. It just.
It's about 3/4 of a centimetre wide, the walls.
3/4 of a centimetre, right. So about 8 millimetres.
Yeah.
Which I know is only 2/5, but that doesn't matter.
All the way down.
4/5.
So already just sand this when it's dry.
Yeah, I'd put it in a I'd put it back in the bag it came from with more shavings in it.
Yeah.
Any cracks in it yet or not?
No.
No, good, right. And it'll probably warp as well.
Yeah, I figured that. I'll take some photos of it and I'll put it up. Show this.
When are you going to start this journey?
The
Next
14th.
Sunday.
So it's typical. Any time I do something half decent, no bastard can see it. Alright, I'm going to disappear for a little bit.
Don't put me up.
Geez, that was quick. So, Chris, did you get your little wayward young lady sorted out, did you? You're doing the washing while you're there, Sid. No, I mean the clothes in the background there.
Ironing.
Sid must have a customer there. He just doesn't want to be seen to be silly talking to himself.
Yeah.
I can't take a photo of it because my bloody camera's being used by this.
Yeah. Ah, right, I see, Sid.
Yeah, it's window dressing, Robbo.
Ah, right.
I've just been vacuuming the floor and emptying the rubbish.
Oh, well, yeah, make a trip over here if you want a real challenge.
No.
But you can't prove you did it if you didn't do it on the live. You need to point the camera at it next time.
Yes, I'm afraid I wouldn't like to be a teenager these days, I don't think, with all the pressures I've got on them.
No.
But I tell you, Robo, I was impressed to no end at the Friday program that Paul hosted. They have a 12-year-old. And I was amazed at what he had done and what he had turned at 12 and the confidence he had. At
Mute your
12,
microphone,
I said,
Sid.
Yeah,
You're just jealous, Robbo.
pretty
I
impressive
know.
what he's achieved so far, isn't it?
yes. And I think that the way everybody handled it was excellent for helping him.
Yep.
You know, and the self-confidence and not afraid to try something. And the one thing that amazed me was that thin, shallow plate that he did that was a pedestal plate.
Yeah.
You know, he just shows this, and a lot of people would have gone and blown through that so easily.
Yeah.
It looked to be extremely thin, at least from what I could tell.
Yeah, it did, didn't it?
And that's what we need to keep the hobby going.
Yes, it definitely, yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit hard to keep interested, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's very true. But I think all we can do is try and hope they stick with it. But
Well,
yeah, I mean, he's had at the moment ambitions of being a full-time turner. That might change in a few years' time. It's kids being
Well,
kids, you don't know. But I think all we can do is try and encourage him at this stage, and obviously he'll make his own choice when the time comes, won't he? But
yeah, I don't think I'd like to be starting out now as a wood turner. Uh,
yeah, not easy, is it?
no, definitely not.
I've thought
But
about it many a time and decided against it.
yeah,
I'll stick with doing it part-time for now.
well, that's a wise move, I think.
Mm.
But
Yeah, I
I
almost
can't.
did it.
I can't say that I haven't enjoyed it for the last
Yeah.
40 years making my living from it, and I've made a reasonably good living at it.
Yeah,
But I decided early on that craft or artwork wasn't for me because I don't talk the talk or walk the walk and
yeah.
that sort of thing. And architectural turning was the way I went. Plus,
Mm.
with architectural turning, you can quote on everything you do.
Yeah. Yeah, you're almost in the unlike the art sort of side of it. What you're turning is pretty much sold, isn't it?
Yes. Oh
Yeah,
well,
yeah,
it's sold. It's sold before I even get it.
yeah, exactly.
Like
Exactly.
they supply the timber and everything else. Basically, all I'm doing is supplying the labour in a lot of cases, so that
Yeah,
suits me fine.
absolutely. Yeah,
But
yeah.
no,
I got made redundant about two and a half years ago now, and at that point I thought, should I go full time wood turning? And I thought about it and thought, well, I'm not sure it's the right time for me. But the way things have turned out over the last year, I think it's probably a good job I didn't.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
Mm.
But no, it's the other problem that we have out here is with clubs that the insurance will not cover any child under 16.
Right.
So consequently, we can't grab them from like we. A lot of the clubs do demonstrations and classes at the high schools
Yeah.
where the kids are 13, 14, 12 or so, but they're covered by the school insurance. The club insurances won't cover kids under 16. It's ridiculous.
Hmm.
And I'll just get back to Chris for a minute. My biggest worry is what wood to use, and this girl has been basically disowned at 18. All her possessions are in 5 garbage bags. I feel sorry for her, but
Yeah.
at least she had somebody to turn to, and that's the most important thing.
Yep.
But no, like I say, I wouldn't like to be starting up a business now as a wood turner with all the auto machines around and everything, and the hardware stores are just churning them out at 100 at a time, you know.
Well, it's even hard as a crafter.
Oh, definitely.
Hey, you guys, come to work. I need them.
For what? Oh, for a craft show.
Hello, Ida.
Robo says hello.
Uh-huh.
Just to go back to Chris for a minute. That's what we used to do, my brother and I, and the school teachers. We used to get the Wayward girls from the 3 big ladies' colleges down there, Toorak Ladies College, Methodist Ladies College, and Robertson Girls High School, and take them on 2-week hikes down through the thing where they had to carry everything and do everything themselves to iron them out. And boy, some of them were interesting, I tell you.
Yeah.
Like, we used to issue a list of what they had to bring, and the Thursday before the Saturday when we left on the boat to go over to Tasmania, list of all their clothing and everything. And boy, they'd turn up with high heel shoes or nice satin knickers and a ball gown one of them bought in one day.
Yeah.
I said, don't you realise, dear, that you're going to be living for a fortnight without having a bath or a shower or anything else? I said, you're going to look like Dracula by the time you're finished. And you'll stink that much that you won't even be socially acceptable in public, you know. And,
Hey,
that used to freak them out straight out.
Dracula's bride.
Stella.
But I must admit, we had a lot of successes with a lot of them too, and it was good to see.
Mm.
Take these selfish little Sheilas and turn them into nice young ladies.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right, Chris. YouTube is the Turner's customer now.
And Pinterest is the designer.
One's on YouTube.
But by the same token, I think wood turners watch other wood turners. It's not the customers that are looking for things in most cases. It's just wood turners looking at wood turning.
But I think
Yeah.
there are people out there who watch some of the videos who aren't wood turners. They just like seeing somebody make something.
Oh, yeah.
That's a potential sort of.
Yeah, well, Amy that comes in here
Yeah.
occasionally is one of them. Good day, Robert.
Hello,
Hodgepodge has
Robert.
just joined.
And Harry and all the rest.
Oh, and Harry, yeah, and the clan in the shed.
Mhm.
Hang on, Robert.
No, I must admit, I used to enjoy turning plates. Like, here's one that I turned.
Oh.
We used to do probably 100 or so of those for a week for the toll painters or the folk art painters. My wife painted that one. That's all painted, believe it or not.
Oh, wow.
Oh, all right.
Oh, yeah.
Wait on, I'll turn it.
That's better. Words are right up now.
Yeah.
Very nice. What's the word?
No, she's. I must admit, for an accountant, she's a very talented lady. I nearly fell over when she did this one.
Yeah.
I thought, oh, I didn't think you'd do that.
So what sort of wood's that made from, Robin?
Believe it or not, MDF.
Oh, is it?
Yep.
Oh, right.
Yeah, we used to turn a lot of MDF. Well, it's cheap, it's stable,
Yeah.
and you can get it in any size. Like, we used to turn big platters 2 foot across out of MDF for doing decorative art and stuff on. And Chris says he started just watching wood turning. It was just fascinating, very satisfying. Yeah, it's the impatient man's hobby, wood turning. It's either fixed or in a nanosecond.
I'm blaming Robbo when my wife asked why I started.
Sorry, what was that?
I said, I'm blaming you when my wife asked why I started.
I know. Oh, don't worry. There's about 500 blokes who want to get, whose wives want to crucify me. I tell you.
Well, mine's semi-legitimate because the first time since high school I looked at wood turning was at Turn SA over here at Kingston, and Robbo was there. And I was chatting to him, and he said, well, by next year I want you to have a lathe. So I did.
Oh, yeah, I like watching Mastercraft. He's pretty good to go. And I think he's from Australia, too. So
Yes,
that's
he
one of-
is. Yeah, he's in Sydney.
Yeah. Oh, and when his wife comes in, oh, he's hilarious.
Thanks, John. I'll pass that on to my wife.
Well, for me, I was brought up and I loved it as a kid. And then I went in the military and I got so far away from it because even at every base posting I was at that had a shop never had a lathe. They'd have table saws and everything for flat work for building stuff that you'd want for your bungalow, whatever you want to call it, room. Uh, Especially in Thailand because you could live off base and if you wanted to, and it was dirt cheap, but you usually had to make your own furniture and that, which was fine because when a year rotation came around, you could sell it off to the person who was buying or renting it for another year. Uh, so that was about all. And what I had learned, of course, was as a kid. So it was intriguing to be able to get up and do it and have some fun at it. But what amazed me and got me into it was watching the Buddhist monks sit there and have a mule turning what you'd see in the movies as a grist mill or a pump, walking in a circle with a yoke on, and it was actually walking in a circle, turning a wheel. Well, that wheel would go back to a belt. That the belt then was the old-fashioned belt drive shops like I was brought up in with my grandparents, and that. So I used a wood lathe there that was belt driven, but belt driven by an ox, uh, which was unique and different. Then I got in the field and got as a POW, and then for 4.5 years, I didn't do much of anything except live on the drugs the government gave me to help me forget. And I got back to turning because I found I could take my anger out on a piece of wood, and then I didn't have to take the pills, and I felt more human again. But that wood shear got turned into shavings quick, and then it was, can you do an urn for my buddy, or can you do this for me, or that, and started doing urns because they're so easy to turn. They're pathetic because you don't have to worry about the inside because the ashes won't care.
Well, I had a fairly good machine shop attached to my workshop as a mechanic, and I used to turn bits and pieces on the metal lathe. And anyway, the bloke next door to us, I used to do all his low voltage fit out. He used to build uh, racing yachts, like ocean going racing yachts, like you have in the London, the Sydney to Hobart yacht races and things like that. And I used to feed up all the generators and the low voltage and the solar on them. We got yakking one day, and he said he had this pile of stuff down in the corner covered by a big green army tarp. And I asked him one day, I said, what's down in the corner there, Stumpy? He said, past life. He'd migrated out from England in the early 50s, and he was a wood turner at the High Wycombe that used to turn furniture components and everything, like by the piece. So he was an indentured wood turner virtually. And anyway, he lifted up the cover and there was a big RU Wadkin underneath it. And I said, I do wood turning as a bit of a hobby over there with a metal lathe. He said, you got a metal lathe over there? I said, yeah. He said, I've always wanted to learn how to turn metal. I said, I've always wanted to turn wood. So we did a deal for 3 weeks, for 3 nights 1 week. He'd work in my place. For 3 nights the other week I'd work over at his place. And he'd show me how to turn wood, and I used to show him how to turn metal and weld and mill stuff and all that sort of thing. And did that for 7 years. So I've served an apprenticeship, I reckon, as a wood turner. 36 hours doing nothing but beads and coves. So you soon learn how to do them, I tell you.
Yeah.
But that's, and then, my wife had a job offer that was 300 kilometres away, so we moved down there. I sold my business in Melbourne, and I did business down there for 12 months, and then I got horribly sick. I just couldn't stand up or anything. and I ended up with a thing called Meniere's disease, so I couldn't work on cars very easily. So I sold the business, and I really didn't have to work at all. But I started getting bored, so I thought, oh, bugger it, I'll take up my hobby as my living, which was wood turning. But I worked out in the first 12 months that craft work wasn't paying, so,
Mm.
and I'm one of these people, I've got to do something that's worthwhile, you know?
Yeah.
So took up architectural turning and been doing it for 40 years ever since.
Uh-huh.
So, but
Mm.
it's now I like teaching it because I like to see the lights come on when they get things right.
So it
Unfortunately,
looks like
unfortunately, Jay's still in the dark. I haven't seen the lights come on there yet.
Oh,
Oh, he's not listening. He
no,
hasn't
but
given me either that or he's frozen, so he can't give me the sign. No, I'm very
yeah.
impressed with it. To be honest, I'm very impressed with the way Jay has come on, considering I've had to guide him over the internet rather than being there.
Yeah.
Well, you've proven it works. Distance learning and wood turning works. When you worked on
Depends on the student a bit, though.
the Australian
Sorry,
They've got to have
boats,
someone who's keen to do it.
sorry, three people spoke at once, and my ears
I just
can't
don't
sort it out.
It depends on the
Sid,
student.
well, that's true.
They've got to want to do it. I mean, from when I started watching Jay to now, what he's turning out and how he's working so much better and more streamlined.
Oh, it's starting to get a bit of style to it, yeah.
I mean, the entertainment value was there earlier.
Yeah, well, I think maybe that's why a lot of people don't come in now because I'm not yelling at him anymore.
now, and the rest of us are all just sitting around and chatting, so you ain't got nobody else to yell at either,
No,
unless we bring up the C's and P's.
Jay's got the biggest social event in my weekly calendar.
yeah, good night, Joy. I didn't even know you were in there. Sorry.
She must have been lurking in the background because I didn't see her pop
Yeah.
in either.
One of the tree people. See you later,
Yeah.
tree people.
Robo, when you worked on the big boats, you ever work on or hear the Kealoha, the
No,
racer cruiser class?
no. Worked mainly on, well, much as I hate to admit it, we worked on a boat called the Charleston, ocean racing yacht. Had a sister ship, both built at the same time, both owned by the same bloke. And the Charleston disappeared between New Zealand and Australia. No sign of it was ever found. Or the crew.
Mm.
And I've often hoped that it wasn't me that caused it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
always
because
the feeling.
in the 80s, one of the big contracts I had was in Antigua in the Caribbean. And the first 2 years, it was a turnaround race, the Antigua turnaround race. Yachts only, racer cruiser classes. You know, the big, expensive ones where every girl wants to get a job on it because of all the hunks that are manning it. And they'll work for free. But the guys can be fussy and so can the captains of which ones could join because they had to complement the beauty of the boat when they hit dock. Because at the same time as a racer cruiser, under the cruiser category, they were rented out almost all the time with doing special trips for the wealthy, uh, vacation trips. And I got the contract to do the yacht races 5 years in a row in Antigua, which at the time was a British, I don't know what they called it. it was owned by Great Britain, controlled by Great Britain.
A
They
British
had,
colony.
well, yeah, I guess that's what they were calling it, but they had their own internal democracy to run the way they wanted to. Uh,
And that's the same as Australia.
and then they become a sovereign country 2 years into it. And the person who was the king uh, happened to be the Lord Mayor beforehand, but everyone just loved him. So
Yeah.
he got unanimously elected to it. But that was always fun. And it's the only place in the world that you can find coconut that is super sweet. It has a high sweetness to it. And pineapple does not have a core. No core whatsoever in their pineapple that's grown in their soil.
What pineapple without a hole in it? That's unheard of.
But you didn't
Is
need
it,
to have a hole. It was
Got to have
is
a
it
just
hole
very
down the
much
middle. You got to have a hole down the middle so you can put it on your finger and eat it round.
donut pineapple, eh?
yeah.
So,
Dole, the big pineapple company, they wanted to duplicate it so they could make pineapple that way. So they bought Barbuda. They leased Barbuda, which is the island just south of Antigua that they own. And it's all volcanic rock. It's the top of a long since gone volcano with because of all the trees that have died on it and decayed. It's got a soil, but you go down about 4 foot and you hit volcanic rock. 5 foot, you just hit volcanic rock, and it's perfect, they say, for growing pineapple. But the pineapples don't have a core.
so if
It's
anyone sees
fantastic.
anything come flying off of this, it's just chipboard. Right? No one's listening? All right then.
I'm listening.
He said if anything flies off, it's just chipboard.
Yeah, yeah, I heard. It's going to be hard on your chisel, Jay. The glue in it is dynamite on chisels.
Practice sharpening.
Mm. And John N said he loves this stream. I tried other streams and too much drama. Oh, we have high drama here with Tickler and Jay's turning.
Like right now, Sarge will get it if it flies from one
Won't
window
keep
to
you
the
long.
next.
Yeah, right?
Some
Yeah.
some somebody's got something going on.
Sorry.
Oh,
I was
it's all right.
watching us on the phone.
Like Sid had to go. The
Oh
store
yeah.
hours were up.
Yeah.
Oh no, I didn't think so. No, he's still got another hour to go yet or more.
Hmm.
Maybe he just lost the connection.
Maybe he pulled a K, trying to
Yeah.
hit mute and ended up hitting leave studio. Ah, there it goes. He said he dropped out. I will say ciao.
Yeah. All right. See you later, Sid.
Without saying Jay's actually spinning some wood. He must have got bored. Just kidding, Sid.
It's interesting
Chip.
watching that turn. It's interesting watching that turning. It's stop motion.
Yeah, and by the time a chip comes off, at least I'll have some
Yeah.
time to deflect it.
Well, that was a flash I didn't expect.
What?
Yeah, you almost don't even want to see flashes like that
Well, I
when you're
thought for a
doing something
moment
hard,
there
but it was
it looked like a
computers.
nuclear explosion hit. I mean, it just simply froze, went white, and then the colors faded away like, wow.
I've
And then I
actually
look
checked
at
the
Robo,
audio.
and he's still there, so it wasn't a bomb.
Oh, no, it'd take 5 minutes to reach us from Adelaide.
Oh, okay. You got 4.5 minutes to know. Well, he's back
Yeah.
again, so.
Bob, I hear you in one ear, then I hear you in the other.
It's not a stereo mic.
Now I hear you in here, and then I hear you over here at his phone.
Oh,
No, people would be horrified if they actually saw the disaster plan for Melbourne in the event of a nuclear attack.
get all these people with their butts in the air.
Basically, yeah,
Yeah, bend over and kiss your ass goodbye.
that's it.
That's all you'd have a chance to do.
Wouldn't even have that if you were within 100, if you were within 30k of it anyway.
Yeah, but as kids, they sure lied to us when they said you could duck and cover under your desk and protect yourself. They placated the public to keep from having a major, major problem.
You know, we never had that in Australia. Like, I suppose to a certain extent we're fairly insular down here because of our location more than anything else. But they, I know you were talking about it a couple of months ago about the duck and cover thing, but we never had any of that sort of instruction at all where we were.
Well, Detroit was listed way up in the top 10 or even higher than that of targets that were thought of as being nuclear targets for Russia, the Soviet Union, because of the auto industry here. At that
That's
time,
right.
90% of cars were made in and around Detroit,
Yep.
including a tank arsenal, which was building a tank every 3 days. And later on, when they were building the Humvee, because they were all built here, but because of the problem of hit one spot and take out a third of what you need to run a military as mobility is bad, bad strategy. It was nice in World War II because you could take your part and drive it by a truck a few miles and another factory would install it on an airplane because we built planes just outside Detroit. Uh, a lot of airplanes. And the parts were made in the Detroit area because it was ahead of machining and all, and automation for all of it. But when things changed to missiles, they had to move it to different parts of the country and not have all the eggs in one basket. But when we were kids, it was all in one basket. But as kids, we didn't realize it.
Well, they fixed that problem in Australia. They got rid of all our manufacturing, moved it all offshore.
Moved it all to China.
Yeah, that's about right. No, we don't have any car manufacturers in Australia now at all. Don't have a lot of manufacturing in Australia actually, which is rather sad.
You got a lot of manufacturing there in England? Or is
No,
it,
it's in the same way, unfortunately. I think the remaining car manufacturers that are in the UK are all owned by foreign car companies, basically. I mean, I think Rolls Royce is owned by is it Volkswagen or BMW, one or the other.
I think it's Volkswagen.
Yeah, and Range Rover is also owned by I think BMW own Range Rover now. But yes, they're all been sold to overseas companies now. So not a lot left. I think the only one that isn't is Morgan. They make the little
Yeah,
sports cars.
but they're hand built, aren't they? The
They are,
Morgans
yeah.
still.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah.
They had a good documentary a little while ago on Australian TV out there about the Morgan Motor Company.
Yeah.
Yep. We see it here on
Mm,
BBC America.
yeah.
We've got three
Yeah.
BBC America channels, 1, 2, and 3.
Uh huh.
Really interesting to watch it.
Yeah, I must admit the English still do the best detective type shows. I reckon.
I would
Yeah.
agree, Robo. They delved into minutia because they make the minutia of how emotions for people and the detail. They hit the details perfectly. They have perfect timing for their actors. They're taught formally. Uh, they're very believable. Unfortunately, it causes a lot of the British actors to become typecast, to where they've always been a secret agent. They play that as the best, or an officer, or something. They have a typecast to them, but it's it beats anything that we produce here, in my opinion.
Now, well, I've always reckoned the difference between the English and the American detective show or those sorts of shows is that in England you see the crime but you don't see the criminal, and they work it all out. In America, you see the criminal as well, and then they work it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I've not looked at it that way, but my favorite is MI5. It's one of the programs I never miss. And I even pay on BBC America to have access to every one ever made. And when they do a series or a season, it is so well developed. If you miss one, you got to go back and make up for it
Yeah, one of my
because
favourite shows was oh, they used to do cold cases. There were three retired police officers that worked on cold cases. Um, the name was just in my head and it just disappeared. But that was a
I
great
thought I
show.
smelled something.
What
yeah.
are you
Now
eating?
with
You eating, Sarge?
No, I said I smelled something.
Oh,
now,
Robo's brain farted.
I've just
oh,
been cleaning up some chips that I had for dinner.
I'll be back
I,
in there.
And
I
I
like
do
this.
enjoy British humor. And so many I know Americans just don't get British humor because I
Well,
think
there's that chair again.
they're just not intellectual enough to follow something. They want something light and fluffy.
Yeah. I'd, we had Arthur Daly. I'd forget his real name. It's just slipped out of my head again. As a guest speaker down here when he came to Australia, and it was rather interesting because he always played a crook, a shonky used car
Wasn't
dealer.
it? Wasn't it Dudley Moore or something?
No. Trying to think who the heck it was. Anyway, apparently he booked into a hotel in Melbourne and they wouldn't take his credit card because they reckon he was a crook. Now that's what you call being a believable character, I reckon.
Ah,
Robo's got a thing.
So I'll take it by nobody reacting that no one's seen what happened.
oh,
No, I didn't actually. You must have frozen just at that time or something. What, it fly out, did it?
I don't know. If it didn't happen on a live, it didn't happen.
Okay. I'll play it back later and find out.
he'll edit it then. But one of my favorite of all, and I've watched the reruns, I've even bought the DVDs, is Monty Python.
Ah, yeah, you got to have a warped sense of humour to watch that. And I've got one.
Yeah. The early shows of Monty Python. I've got, I think it's a 10 DVD set, a 5 and a 4 or 5. I've got 2 sets and a single that I have bought. And I just maybe I'm weird. I just enjoy the type of satirical humor, physical humor. And I've got all the Python movies. And the BBC seems to be excellent at programs like that. They just outright make you laugh. And of course, I've got every Doctor Who that's out there. I've bought them all over the years because I'm a Whovian. I like the premise is really fantasy, but the stories really, if you look into them, there's a lot of depth as to how people interact with others. Doesn't matter if the person has 3 eyes and can change shifts. It's still how one person or group acts as compared to another. And who does that? And that's one of the longest running, I think, British shows out there. And as a purist, I like the first series where when they would come in and slam a door, you'd see the walls wobble because they were doing it on a shoestring.
Mutrix. Mutrix was the name of the show with the 3 detectives.
Ah, yeah. What's your favorite type, Paul, for
Favorite type of what?
TV
TV.
that you enjoy getting into?
Don't know really. I suppose I'm probably more into documentaries than fiction.
You read more documentaries than fiction?
Well, I watch more documentaries than I do the sort of films and things like that.
Yeah, I must admit I like the English documentaries, particularly the ones on, or the shows about, there's one about steam trains where they, dangerous railways or something they call it.
Yeah.
And, oh man, some of the railways are fantastic.
Mm.
And the little Scottish bloke that does, like, walks around from one end of England to the other, you know, or the British Isles, where he shows everything that's going on. They're all very well edited and everything else.
Yeah.
Time Team is one of my favorite. I've got that.
Yeah, I used to
Time
watch
Team.
that all the time. I haven't watched it for a while actually, but I think it's just moved channels. But yeah, it's still on from time to time here.
Well,
What was
most
that,
of
Bob?
the originals are really up in years. It's
Yeah,
surprising the
it's
fact.
been around for quite some time,
And
hasn't
now
it?
that is premium on top of BBC America. They separated it out.
What
Yeah,
show was that?
Time Team, the
Oh no, I've
archaeologists,
never
three
seen it.
days to discover something in an area. And it's all archaeology.
And dare I say it, being an ex-petrol head, I love Top Gear.
Yeah.
The one with Jeremy Clarkson in it.
mm. Yes, that used to be quite entertaining, didn't it?
Yeah. Boy, what they used to get away with used to astound me, I tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, there's one that's every Friday night here on BBC America. He came to New York to do a bunch of shows here, and it sold out, but there wasn't a lot of people that could follow the British innuendo of humor, the style of it. Uh, and I can't think of the guy's name. He always seems to get the biggest of stars to sit on his curvy couch and talk to him. He has this stupid thing where people tell him a story, and if he doesn't like the story, the chair they're in dumps him.
yeah. Oh, yeah, the Graham Norton show.
Graham Norton, yeah.
Yeah,
I get a kick out of that. And
yeah, it's quite amusing, that one, isn't it?
yeah, he gets some really good talent, and he's
Yeah.
able to get the people who are usually very expensive to get individually, he gets them as a group.
Yeah,
Where he gets the money to do that, or they just want to be on the show with him and his audience.
yeah.
I don't know, but that's a big hit on BBC America here every Friday night, and then
Mm.
they run it twice as reruns. And now with the app, you can watch it anytime you want,
Yeah.
unlimited for $30 a month.
I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yep, yep.
No, we
And
can't. Sorry.
I had to
another
get rid
show
of my
that I really,
I had to get rid of my vice. It was killing my
yeah,
hair.
that's all right. The another show I liked was Grand Designs, that where they went around the houses that people were building. You know.
Yeah, that's one I
George
enjoy.
George Cole was the bloke I was trying to think of before that played Arthur Daly in The Minder.
Hey, Paul.
Yep.
Have you ever been to Stratford upon Avon?
Yes, yeah, I'm about 40 miles from there.
Oh yeah. Did you ever go to the Shakespeare Theater?
Yes, my son worked there up until a few months ago.
Man, I was 14 and I went out there with a church youth group. We went to
Yeah.
London and Upper Hereford and all sorts of places out there. But when we were
Yeah,
in London, we went there to the theater. Oh my gosh, that was great.
yeah, yeah,
Except for I forgot to bring my daggone raincoat.
yeah. That's almost an essential in the UK, yes.
Yeah.
It doesn't rain. It doesn't rain in England much, does it?
No,
Only
I'm talking
between
about in the.
showers.
That's
I was talking about the theater.
Yeah, yeah.
They got
Did you go to the one
the,
by the river?
yeah, they got the theater.
Yeah,
The stage is at an angle so that you can.
that's, yeah.
The seats are flat and the stage is at an angle, and we happen to be almost front row seat. And boy,
Yeah.
the enunciation, they just
Mm.
spit every other word.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, my son's, he was one of the technical sort of backstage people there. He does mainly lighting, but lighting and sound. And he's a lighting designer. But, yeah, with the COVID lockdown, they've basically been shut down for 12 months now. So they laid him off last August, so he's got himself another job now.
Yeah. And we also went and saw Cats too, the theater. That was
Yeah,
cool.
that in London, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And London Dungeon, and we seen
Yeah.
the changing of the guard at the palace.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, there's a lot to see in London. Yeah, a great place to go to see the attractions. I don't think I want to live there, but
Right.
I'll go there for a few days for recreational purposes.
Right.
I understand it's very expensive for very
Yeah,
poor
it
quality.
is. Yeah. But I've worked there for sort of a week at a time, from time to time. That's long enough in terms of working. I much prefer where I live out in the country. But you know, I've worked there for the odd week here or there.
What amazes me to no end, and I follow 2 or 3 groups on Facebook and also on YouTube, are the people who explore underground London.
Mm.
And the buildings that have 3 and 4 basements that were built that way for the air raids, World War
Yeah.
II,
Uh-huh.
whole communities under major streets above. Now, lo and behold, there's these secret big stairways to get people down there that have been sealed off.
Mm.
And shops set up, places where shops could be sold, where businesses could simply move down. And they explore it, and they've got hours upon hours, and all they're doing is exploring some of the old underground in London and the London area. Now there's another one I'm following that's actually the tunnels that have been built, not under London, but other places, railroad tunnels, tunnels that actually had waterways in them in order to bring barges in underground so they could unload them. And the fact that a lot of them on the history of London Bridge,
Mm.
it's really intriguing that cities always change. That's just
Yeah.
part
Yeah.
of it. And up until probably 50 to 60
That's-
years ago,
Mm.
they weren't
Sorry,
really
sorry,
interested
Jay.
in
I couldn't.
history.
Sorry, Jay. I couldn't read that. It was so fuzzy. Can you?
Let me see what I did.
Oh yeah. No. We have a catch, did we, or something? Or did we go through the bottom of it?
I don't know, Robbo. What do you say?
I don't know. The picture's that bad. I can't tell.
Whoa! Picked a good
Green
day.
squirrel.
Yes. I picked a good day to have a stuff up. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Well
It
done.
looks like a sanding plate.
Does
You
it?
glue your sandpaper to it.
Can you see that?
I can see something there, but I can't tell what it is.
It looks like texture or a blowout.
Oh, fallen off. Oh, right.
I glued it back in.
It broke the tenon off, did it?
From this side. it frisbeed that way,
Oh,
and the tenon stayed in the chuck. So I found out which way that it fell out, and I re-glued it back in, and I painted it.
oh, right. I'll be back in a minute.
No, not good enough. Yes, I picked an awesome day to stuff up. That was excellent. No one could see it. Excellent work. Well done. I'll make sure I degrade my quality for tomorrow, just in case I stuff that up too.
When you're leaving, this weekend or next weekend, to go to Robo's?
On the 14th, Dr. Bob,
Okay.
we leave at about 3 o'clock in the morning to go to Robbers. So we'll get there about 12:30 in the afternoon, 1 o'clock.
That's
You
not too
leave
bad.
early in the
What, about
morning to
10 hours?
avoid the heat of day.
No, to avoid the Melbourne traffic. There's certain parts of the day where the traffic is horrendous, and I live in a one-horse town compared to Melbourne, and I hate the traffic here. So it's good to know a couple of Melbourne people so they can tell me when not to travel. You see. And
Yeah.
when we leave Robbo's house to come home, we're leaving his house at 3 o'clock in the morning. Again, to avoid traffic.
Yeah, for a person that never drives in traffic, I can sure understand that. At
Yeah.
my age, I haven't driven much at all lately. During COVID, I haven't at all. Haven't needed to. I'm lucky in the sense that I've got friends that drop wood off in my yard in front of my shop for me. You know, it just, here's a hunk of tree. And,
Yep. Yeah, that bowl that I turned before, that was growing on a tree 2 days ago.
What Cade said he did, he put them in a bag of rice or something like that, suck out all the moisture
I put
after he turns them.
Yeah,
Yes.
I put it in a bag of the shavings that come from it,
Yeah, that's right. That's what it was.
and just
But,
leave it there until it's dry.
the rice trick, you have to be don't say you have to be, but it's very good to be in a market area that has a lot of Oriental or sub-Indian, sub-Asia. Because what you want is rice, but you want unbleached rice.
Yeah, you want field rice, basically.
Yes, and the only way to get it in, 25-pound bags cheaply, I mean, for the one of a 5-pound bag of rice, I can get a 25-pound bag of unbleached rice that they sell all the time for the Indian, or uh, the different Oriental foods.
Yep.
At the same time, because that's the two big continental areas that have it. And we have a lot of Asians here and a lot of Indians from India, Indians.
Yeah.
So rice, a 50-pound bag of rice is like $18, $19.
Yeah.
So I just put them in the rice in a big metal trash can. And I'll put 100 pounds of rice, and underneath my lathe now for ballast is two 50-pound bags of rice. In my ballast box, I used to use gravel or sand, but rather have rice because I can later on and use it to take the moisture out of wood. And when it won't work, we have Chinese food or Indian food out of the rice.
Yeah, that'll work too. Makes a little sawdust. It gives you plenty of protein and starch.
Yeah. But yeah, just put the object in. It has to be unbleached rice, because when you start bleaching it and processing it for us white people, so much has been taken out of it. The rice it's been cooked and bleached and dried, and the taste has gone off. I always have a 55-gallon trash can, 2/3 full of the rice. And I bury stuff in it all the time for it to dry. People say shavings. Yeah, shavings, they might work, but the shavings can be just as wet as the wood you're putting in it. And the only thing I do is that in the top of the trash can, I have a little computer fan. Cut a hole, put the fan in the lid, and just let it run. It runs all the time on a little USB charger. Just plugged into the wall. And that keeps the air circulating through the can of rice and what wood I have in there drying.
That's as clear as the picture's been, Jay. Still freezing, but it's relatively clear.
Yeah, that'll be bloody right. Maybe it was the lathes tripping out the frame rate, maybe. I don't know.
What's
No, it's the-
Tuesday's meeting, Paul?
Pardon?
What's Tuesday's meeting? Do you remember?
I'm not sure. I've forgotten. I'll just look it up. Tuesday. That's that one. Hollowing rigs and jigs.
Okay. I'll probably have to. I'll see if I can't come in on my phone.
Yeah.
That way I can set up in my shop with the one that I invented.
All right, that might be useful.
I've shown it in pieces, but I'll put it up on the lathe and demonstrate how the ends change and all that.
Okay.
If
Sounds
you like
good.
Sorby, I've got all the Sorby ends on a
Yeah.
1-inch bar.
Uh-huh.
Great cutter, but you know, I love them all, but I like the stability of a 1-inch bar, 2.5 foot long.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Thanks. There's another one coming.
If it's anything like me, Jay, it takes a lot to bless me, I tell you.
Yeah. I'll frizzle up if I walk into a church.
You mind if I, Paul, come in as 2 connections?
Yeah, you should
I'll
be able
list
to.
one
Yes.
is my name dash camera,
Yeah,
and the other will be just my computer.
I think it
That
will.
way I can use my phone. I can move around and demonstrate showing it.
Mm.
Because that's what we do in our club here.
Yeah.
You just, kill the mic in it. When you're done, you kill the camera and disappear somewhere to the background.
Yeah. Sounds like Jason having fun.
Yeah.
Nobody saw him.
Well, the only way
What's
I
going
know of is showing it is to actually demonstrate how what makes it so versatile.
Yeah. Good. Sounds like a
Because I
plan.
keep watching all of the woodworking, show and tells, and everyone
Yeah.
brags about these fancy Sorby cutters,
Uh-huh.
and they are. But they come on such short little handles if you want to
Yeah.
go deep,
Mm.
and they're not counterweighted.
Yeah.
I've got 4 of the big handles, the big Sorby ones you can screw together. That's what
Uh-huh.
gave me the original idea. I stuck 2 together
Yeah.
to give it the length.
Oi!
Oh, you
I'll
got
go.
the Sarge.
I
I'll
knew,
go.
I knew that'd get, I knew that'd get Jay's attention.
I'll go inside and eat some old gold.
Oh, don't you dare, you pig!
Double blocks at that. I'll bring them out and tease you and just eat them.
Right, well, I think I'm going to make a move.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
all right. Good night, Paul.
See you next
Thanks
time.
for coming in, Paul.
Good
Yeah,
morning
Paul.
to you.
You sent me the link to your video today.
I'll email it to you tomorrow, Bob.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Or I'll send it to you on Messenger, one or the other. Yeah, I'll send it to
Messenger
you.
is easier.
Okay, yeah, we'll do that. Bye, guys.
See you
See you
later.
later. Hooroo!
See you later, Bubba. So I'm going to try and take the tenant off this, I reckon.
Robo,
And,
I'm intrigued. Behind you, what looks like are epaulets
Sorry?
with all the dangling down stuff from an epaulet. The fringe. Yeah.
That's a blanket.
Oh, okay. It looked like a pair of epaulets for the shoulders.
No,
Or some costume.
no, that's all my packing stuff for when we used to deliver furniture.
Pretty fancy delivery blankets with the
No,
fringe.
just old ones that we used had lying around, so. The office isn't, well, it's not dust free, but it's dust freer than the rest of the workshop.
Robo's opera's about to put me to sleep.
He does love his opera. How about some
But
dogs?
seriously though, I think I'm gonna pull out. I'm about wore out.
No worries, Sarge.
We will see you all tomorrow or so.
thanks
Yep.
for coming in. Take it
Have a
easy.
good day.
All right, you too.
What's the picture like now?
No, it's still the same, Joe.
Fuzzy.
Yeah, everybody is coming down from the cloud separately, going up and down. No one is dependent upon the person that started it. They only control the server in the cloud.
Yeah.
That way you can do the whole thing from a cell phone. You don't need the power. I'm going to have to go. I have a dog whining at the back door.
All right then, Bob. No worries.
Yep, let him out and then hit the sack. I've been up since 4 this morning because that's when he had to go earlier. And once I'm awake, I can't go back to sleep, try as I may.
All right. See you later.
Thanks
Yep.
for coming in.
Oh, thank you for inviting me. Have fun.
Boris, take it easy.
Yep. I'll be watching the rest of it from my bed. Don't worry.
Oh, yeah, I'm not staying on much longer. I was going to knock it on the head in 4 minutes anyway, so. Any new business lately?
Sorry.
Haven't had any new business lately?
Uh, no, not really. I don't worry about it these days.
Bit more poured out than I was kind of hoping.
Sorry.
Um, I'm trying to be sparing with this stuff because I've run out, just about run out, and then I just tipped out way too much all over my fingernail and everything. It's like, no, damn it.
What is it? The
Achilles.
sanding sealer.
Nah, the beeswax.
Oh yeah.
Alright, I'll knock it on the head now.
All right. No worries. I'll go and
Alright,
check. Go and check on the revs on the new machine.
see you later, everybody.
Bye, everybody.